so you were able to take over a recovery studio, so sauna, cold plunge, light therapy, and I know, like again, personally, I know I've found opening my second, third, and fourth businesses that it was still challenging, but I kind of knew what to expect. I mean, it was still everyone has been hard as hell, but I kind of like you, I knew it'd be okay. It just in this, in the thick of it, it sucks. But I knew it'd be okay. But it's still, everyone has been challenging in its own way. What's been your experience opening Sweat Studio, or not, I guess reopening or relaunching, and running a second concept? Like, I guess the lessons that you've taken from the first experience, and how have you applied that to this second business?
Yeah, I think this is perfect for what, one, what Rockbox has done for me. I think that was the true appreciation, this go around because I wasn't, because I think every entrepreneur goes through this, right? You buy into a franchise, it gets to a day where you're like, oh, I can do it myself.
Sure.
It's it's, I feel like everybody, it's like, oh, wow, I'm paying them this and that. And,
Yep.
you have that conversation with yourself. So then you go, okay, well, let's take a little leap of faith here. Let's see, I know, businesses complement each other. I know that if I get them an X amount of leads, I know if I get them X amount to show and I sell enough memberships, I'm going to be all right. Right. If I just work my tail off to get these things accomplished. So it's the same type of service. And so I'm going, I can do this. And let me tell you, I got I got in there that first day and I'm looking around and I'm going, we don't have this? We don't wait, we don't have that either. Like I'm just like thinking about all the things that I wouldn't say I've taken for granted, but it's the things that don't stick out to you on the Rockbox side that's just always been there because of, a great franchise. And
Sure.
so you get in there and you go, oh my goodness, I've got to write the agreements. I've got to write policy. I've got to write, I've got to have all the greatest wording, and dive into liability waivers and all the stuff that the hard, concrete material that got and that you have to have, the SOPs, the promos, the ads, there's just so many branches of the business, as you know. And uh, that was the toughest. On top of you got to have a good staff, you got to go rehire, you got to get, you got to redevelop a culture because I'm not, opening it myself. It's like I'm taking over a studio. So I have to, learn my staff as quick as I can, who's motivated, who's not motivated, what are they good at? Then I've got to make sure all the background work was, perfectly in line to where I know that I've got to get some of this behind me to where I don't have to worry about it in the future. Like you just got to have some concrete stuff for, to run a business. And that took me a little bit longer than I was expecting. I really thought I could get in there and grind it out and get it all done. And it just wasn't the case. It was okay, Seaton, let's sit down, let's get this, let's actually put a plan together. Let's start taking some steps in the right direction. And, one of my dad's biggest things for me was never make two big decisions at once, right? You
Mm,
always make one decision, go be great at it, and then you'll make your next decision, right? Two big decisions at once usually cause chaos, right?
yeah.
So it was, I'm going to make this decision of taking over the business. So don't go try to restructure your entire staff and go home and, be up all night writing papers. It's like, all right, let's start somewhere, right? Let's
Yep.
just go and let's fix each issue day by day and don't stop until you're done. As long as you do that, you'll actually be more efficient than you trying to just be chaotic and just start trying to plug everything in and try to make piece things together. And so that was 100% the hardest part for me was, now I've got to do, my own, systems and leads. And now I've got to find the right POS system. Now I've got to find the right booking services. Now I've got to find the right marketing, the ads, the promos, it was a big puzzle piece, that I just don't have a ton of the data on. I have
Yeah.
data that I have over the last 6 years of Rockbox, but, you know, in the recovery space, it's a different clientele,
Sure.
really. It really is. It's more pain, pain recovery. It's older. It's people that aren't always into high intensity. There's a different mix of clientele, and that's been the fun part for me too. Is learning that different type of clientele, learning that there's more segments of the fitness and health industry that have really helped build Sweat Studio now to what it is, and
Yeah.
the new relationships, the fresh faces, the energy, and being able to compliment each other. It's like, hey, you been to a workout yet? And
Yeah.
it's being able to hit those subtle plugs because it's people in Bowling Green, Kentucky do listen, and that's why my second location wasn't going to be in Owensboro or Evansville or surrounding cities. It was. I know through my experience that these people across the table from me are willing to listen. They really do want to change their life. It's like, so if I can continue to have the impact I have right here in this city and continue to move the needle when I already spend, 40, 50 hours a week here, it made a lot of sense for me. Around December, it was a big pivotal moment, and hopefully change the whole trajectory of everything that we're moving, going forward. So I'm excited.
So now that you've opened, or I guess say open, you've taken over and really relaunched this second business. Now you've got two under your belt, which is a PhD in business. Now that's beyond an MBA when you're doing it. What what advice would you offer to the listeners who maybe are in a corporate role, working in a job, and they want to own their own business. They want to follow that American dream, as you said. But you were I love how open you were about what's involved in that first 6 to 12 months. What advice would you give someone that is kind of on the fence of, do I stay in this role? I make a good living versus, all right, I want to go for it.
I think one, there's tons of variables of that, obviously, but if you just look at it as you're choosing something, I think that's the whole goal, right? I think when you see somebody in the whole corporate America world, I'm sure they're probably making good money. They probably have good benefits. They're probably, a very structured schedule, 9 to 5, whatever it is. And that's just not what small. That's not what entrepreneurship is. It's the exact opposite. It's so I would tell them that if you're passionate about it, it'll be the best days of your life.
Yeah.
It'll be the absolute best days of your life, and you will not regret a single thing you do every single day, and you will actually grow faster through your own self and through other people more than you ever would in a corporate business.
Yep.
You won't see your true potential by going in and doing something where that works. In America, we're forced to do that, right? A
Yep.
lot. It's like, I know I have these responsibilities with these financial, with these, expenses, that, there's sometimes people feel trapped, right? Like, I need this or I have to have this because this is the life I created for myself. And I think that is always the hard hump to get over. It's always the, oh my goodness, should I take this leap of faith? Because what if I can't, keep up with this certain lifestyle? And you just can't have that mindset because it has to lead with passion and it has to lead with, obviously a good product to some extent, but if you believe in it, you love it, and you wake up every morning happy and you're going into work with a smile on your face, full of energy. I don't care if if it's 20 days or 365 days, if it's more than that corporate America job, take a step,
Yeah.
it's life's too short not to, right? You have to put one foot in front of the other, continue to do your best. And if you're passionate about it, the money will follow. It always will. It always has. It really will.
And as you said earlier, and it'll be all right.
And
It'll
it'll
be
be all
okay.
right.
Yeah.
It'll
Yeah.
be okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna take a sacrifice for about 6 months, but
Yeah.
it's back to Dave Ramsey. It's at some point you are gonna sacrifice in your life. You're either gonna sacrifice now or you're gonna sacrifice later. So
Yeah.
you're either going to right now put your head down and go to work and save and do everything you can to invest in your future self. Or guess what? You're gonna catch yourself when you're older, sacrificing then to
Yep.
do, to continue to make ends meet. So at some point in your life, you are gonna have to sacrifice something, and
Amen.
so that's anybody looking to take that entrepreneurial step. I promise you it's worth it because no day's ever the same.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part. It's always a puzzle, right? It's
Yeah.
always, oh, how can I do this? Okay, well, here's top priority today. Here's this. Let's find a way to continue to move the needle.
Yep.
It's a
And
breath of fresh
I
air.
love that, man. Your dad's advice. Never two big decisions at the same time. Like that. That's going into my note app.